The Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show.
Boss and the Sauce Show. Here we go.
What up, down? Live and direct, 2023 week 0. Me and my man Big Ragu the Sauce. What's up, Sauce?
Hey, brother. We are here finally. 2023 week 0, ground zero, if you want to call it that, in the college football world. I am doing fantastic. It's Friday evening, 10 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock your time on the West. You're out in Nevada. I'm in Florida. We're going to meet somewhere in the middle and put these games on the board. Light board, week 0. We're going to talk about a few games. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. Haven't laid too many bets in the casino here. I played a couple horses, but I got a couple parlays going on for tonight in baseball. But I'm excited for tomorrow. My favorite team in college football is up first. And that's that. It just shocked me in the last week. Wow, Notre Dame is the first game right here. So it's going to be interesting. I'm glad I'm in Vegas to be able to lay something on it and have a good time. Win, lose, or draw, I'm having fun.
Yeah, man, that's going to be a time and a half. That's going to be a fun game to watch. I know they're playing in Ireland, right? They're playing in Dublin, not Ohio, in Ireland.
So, Ireland, yeah.
So that'll be interesting. And man. So small board. Next week will be the big board, but today, there's some interesting caps in this card. It really is. Coming out of the gate, we'll see. Maybe some of these teams set the tone for their season, for their upcoming season. Obviously, it's a big game for the Irish, a big game for Navy, and like you said, we got Hawaii. Got USC playing. There's a few games we'll talk about, but I'll let you lead the way, and we'll put this thing together, and then it'll be a quick show tonight. 4 or 5 games we're going to talk about, and then we'll see how we do, and then we'll be back midweek next week, and then of course going into the big slate next week, week 1. So I'll let you kick it off, brother. What you got?
Let's go. First up is this Notre Dame game, Navy versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame right now, I've seen is minus 21. It started off at minus 20, so it went up a point. And the over-under is teeter-tottering at 49. There's some weather in Dublin's. I believe it's going to be about 68, 69 degrees, maybe some rain. So that's going to be a little difficult there. Like I said, going into this game, I was thinking, under and maybe plus the points. Because in the past, especially Brian Kelly era, that's just what it been. They play a lot of defense, they slow the game down to get the advantage, and they're not always there to win and all that stuff. But last year with Marcus Freeman, he showed me a little different with Syracuse. He showed me a little different with a couple other teams, and he will let the team loose and go out there and score some points and blow some people out. I mean, he does come from Ohio State, which that's what they've been doing over there for years. So it wouldn't surprise me if that's the game plan for Freeman going into this game. So I'm on Notre Dame minus the 21. The total, I keep going back and forth. I want to keep the total under because I think the defense on Notre Dame is going to be a level up from last year. They came out great against Ohio State last year. They should hold Navy in the option down. What happened last year was late in the season against a coach who wasn't well seasoned with the option, and he almost gave up a 30-something point lead or whatever and lost the game. But I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to be well prepared for the option. We're going to force them to throw the ball, and we're going to try to make some plays.
Yeah, I like the cap. I really do. If you go back and look at last year, I mean, there's a couple of different things this year. Obviously, with both teams, we know that Navy has promoted their defensive coordinator, head coach position. We know that Notre Dame has brought over Hartman, which, over when he's playing for Clausen at Wake, a little different offensive scheme over there. Obviously, high number of plays per game, a little more up tempo offense. Have you heard anything about Navy? What do you think about Notre Dame's tempo
Quarterback.
they're going to play
Oh,
this
the
game?
tempo. We don't know exactly what we're gonna get. And that's helpful for us because we got the new offensive coordinator. Reeves was there for years. He was
Yeah,
alumni.
he's a tight ends coach, right?
Yeah, it was tight ends coach got promoted up to offensive coordinator. So I mean, he's not going to be a big change in system, but maybe the play calling is going to be a little different. Maybe because he's a tight end coach, he maybe pass a little more. But we have a good enough offensive line and a running back core that can handle business with or without the pass.
Yeah, well, that was my main question with Hartman is he's used to that tempo, and it's a different. If you've seen him when he was at Wake, and I've made a lot of Wake Forest bets over the years, especially in the first halves with Hartman. But it's kind of like when you used to watch Le'Veon Bell run. He'd kind of like work in there and then pull back out and then
Mhm.
make his move. They kind of ran that, but it's a different type of option that he ran, and it was effective. And he's a downfield type of guy too. So it's going to be interesting to see how how they utilize him in that role. I think it's going to be more traditional, personally, to start out. But I think he's going to be
Mhm.
able to, like you said, with that offensive line, it's going to be a different look for him altogether. But he's very capable. He put up big numbers. I think it's definitely an upgrade at quarterback with him there. Navy, what they live on is they live on the defense. They live on the run, obviously. I mean, they were always a top run defense. So I think I'm not going to say it's going to force them to pass on the Notre Dame side, but I think it's definitely going to be a little bit of a tempo change for Hartman, with the Navy defense. And like you said, Freeman, he might let these guys open up early. I think I think their linebackers will adjust early on. It might take like a quarter, but when they do, that's probably when all the changes are going to come for Notre Dame on defense. But they know what Navy's going to do. But here's the thing: now the Navy coach did say, they're going to throw some wrinkles, but how effective are those wrinkles going to be early on? In the season, not the game, but just how they develop. So there's going to be some moving parts over there on the Navy offense too. So you're going to have probably two different offensive looks here, more from the Navy side, not so much Notre Dame. But then I think the game opened up for Notre Dame later. But if you look at last year's game, like you said, they had them up early and they kind of let them hang around late, and they try to sneak one away. But I think it's a lot of points personally. So I think Navy kind of keeps it close early, and then I'm hoping they don't blow them out late because I like the Navy side with the points here. So I'm going to be on Navy also with the points. I think not because it's an away type game or neutral field, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a feeling out stage. And can Notre Dame blow them out later? Possibly, but I think Navy's defense will kind of keep around for a bit. And the big question mark is both offenses. How they employ Hartman, and what does Navy make as far as their traditional, you know, wing back running style that they play, or do they add a little bit more of a I won't call it trickery, but some more downfield plays. So I think Notre Dame's going to get the plays downfield. Whether Navy can match them point for point, that's going to be the question. But it's a lot of points. We're looking at what we got for the number 21.
21.
You need four scores to cover the number, which it's gonna. I think early in the season. I think it's too many points for my liking, especially as good as Navy's defense has been in the past too. So we got to give Navy's defense a little bit of credit here.
I like it, man. You always been my go-to guy when it comes to those military teams, but this time I'm on the other side. But let's keep it
Yeah,
moving, man.
yeah, let's do it.
No play on the total for that one for you.
You know what? I think it might be a sneaky little over. I know on paper it looks like an under, a dead under, but I think this game might sneak over, might surprise some people early on. Even though we're talking defenses here with Navy and stuff like that, but if Notre Dame makes their adjustments, which I think they will in the second half, I think that's when it might get a little bit ugly. I don't think we're going to see like we seen it last year. I think if anything happens, I think it's going to be the opposite way. I think they'll be closer in the first half, and then Notre Dame will probably pull away in the second half. So,
Yeah.
but then we might get that back door too. You know what I mean? So, but I lean over here. I really do. I mean,
Yeah, I like a second. I like a second half over too. So we'll
yeah,
see what
I
the
would
number
say
is
I'm
on that.
going to probably look at probably bet the total live, after the second quarter and see what comes out, and then you'll get a good feel, not a good feel, but you'll feel the tempo of the game once they settle down after the first quarter and a half. You'll start to see the defenses have their adjustments, what they're going to do offensively. So I don't think the offensive scheme is going to change. I think the defenses is what's really going to change in the second half.
Absolutely. Now let's jump on into this next one. This is Ohio versus San Diego State. San Diego State's been teetering on -2.5, 3, and the total also has been teetering 49, 48.5. Lot of people got a lot of input in this game. Mountain West, where I do it the best. I have my take on it as well, but I'm gonna let you go first, Big Ragu, on this one.
Yeah, I've been following the markets on this one a little bit. I know you know a lot about the Mountain West. My big concern, especially with these MAC teams early on playing the bigger schools, is where they like to live, especially like in the the Big Ten, up in the Midwest, that type of thing. I mean, they're playing a team from your conference, the Mountain West. I think San Diego State. The concern to me was, and you can correct me, or you can, of course, you're going to give me your opinion here, but I think they're lacking a little bit on the defensive side, and going up, Ohio, they've always been a pretty decent team. Back a few years back when what was the coach that was in Nebraska? They were always had a
Uh,
pretty good
Foster,
offensive team. But who's the
that's
coach for
Scott Foster.
Ohio nowadays? You
Ohio.
know who?
His name is. I got
I
it
know he
right
took over
here.
for Frank. The name went like right out of my head, man. I just had a second though. But anyways,
His name is
defensively,
Tim Albia. Tim Albia.
yeah, okay. So he's probably what, like his third year or something like that
Third
over
year,
there.
yeah, third year
Yeah,
guy.
but I remember we were talking about this. We didn't cover them in the preseason, but last year we talked about them. But they were kind of like rebuild mode. Frank Zolik was the coach. It went out of my head. But anyways, San Diego State's defense is going to be my concern here against the matchup here. And I know it's a short number. We're talking like 3.5 down to 2.5 now. And I had to lean on this one. I didn't get to the window here, but I think if San Diego could make some adjustments on defenses where they're going to have to, because I think they might be up against it here against this Ohio offense. So my initial cap was, to take Ohio on the money line, maybe like use them in a parlay or something like that, possibly. But I didn't get to the window with this particular spot here. But they are one of the top offenses in the MAC, and against a team that's been struggling defensively, I was looking to possibly money line this game, or maybe look towards a team total over here on the Ohio side, and I couldn't cap. I didn't get into the offense of side of things with the San Diego State. I was kind of waiting to hear what you had to say about that, and then maybe from a total perspective, I put some things together. But right now, I lean on the San Diego. I mean, on the Ohio University side on the money line, and a team total over for Ohio.
I'm right with you on the Ohio money line. I mean, I'm gonna sprinkle the money line. I'm gonna take the 3 points as well, or 2.5, whatever they're giving, just for good measure. But I think that San Diego State, I don't think it's what they trying to make it to be. I don't care for the quarterback Jaden Maiden. He was a fourth string guy. I think he was even playing wide receiver at a point in time, and he had to play quarterback. Did a good job from coming in, but just like that old blues song, sometimes the thrill is gone. and they're putting a lot on this guy's plate to make think that he's gonna come and all of a sudden turn the organization who is built off of the run to a point where they're gonna pass. They brought in the offensive coordinator, Ryan Lindley, ex San Diego State player. I mean, San Diego State never really had a great passing attack like that. So, I don't know how much value that is. It sounds really nice, but I don't know how much value it have. And then the defense, they played a step down last year because the offense couldn't stay on the field sometimes. So the defense, they got caught slipping sometimes. But the overall they were a notch down from where they usually are, and I don't see that they repaired any of that. Like they're returning 6 on defense. One really stud is Cooper McDonald. He's a real stud out there on defense, linebacker. So
Yeah, I heard they
other
got
than
really good
that,
linebackers.
yeah, other than that linebacker core, they still lacking on the defensive line. Of course, the secondary is up there a little bit, but like I was saying earlier, that now, it used to be San Diego State secondary was the lockdown secondary, but Wyoming's moving into place nowadays with the lockdown secondary, and San Diego State's been getting caught slipping, and that's why I lean on the over too, because they have been getting caught slipping, and it's not that their offense is slow, but when you have to score, you have to score. So Ohio's going to score for sure, and San Diego State's going to be forced to score. Maybe if Jaden Maiden is the guy to throw the ball, then he could throw the ball some, and we'll get an over in that game. So I'm
Yeah,
leaning on the over, and I like Ohio. Plus the points and the sprinkle on the money line.
yeah. I just what I've read too also is I've seen a lot of people kind of looking towards the under here, which is surprising, but I don't know if it attributes to the fact that Ohio's lost like their last 10 out of conference games. That could be a reason, but I mean, I wouldn't say this is kind of like a revenge type of game by no stretch. But like if you look at the markets, and even so, there's more bets on the San Diego side, but looks like the money's coming in on the Ohio side.
Yeah, I think the public is a lot wrong this year on a lot of stuff, just because I think social media nowadays is just increasingly tainting the information that we use to cap. So I think some of this public heavy stuff is just something you got to dig deeper into. But let's just
Yeah,
keep it moving. Next up, Hawaii and Vanderbilt. This Vanderbilt 17 and a half has just been sitting there. I mean, they ain't even moved or nothing. I mean,
yeah.
these lines are from months ago, and this 17 and a half been sitting solid, and the over under is 56. I mean, let's evaluate it from a line setting point of view. Like, of course, last year they beat them 63-10, but
Yeah.
you put a 17 and a half there to stay with no movement on a team that won 63-10 last year. I think you have some insight on what's going on. And then there's a lot of ruckus over there at Vanderbilt because of the quarterback doing very well last year. So they're expected to play this year a couple notches better. I actually had them over the season win total again this year, and I think they added a game because you hit it last year at what, 2.5?
Two
So
and a half.
I think it was 3.5 this year, and I think it's still gettable.
3.5. I think Hawaii's 3.5 too. Yeah, but last year I hit it 2.5 because like we did break down the Vandy and the SEC breakdown. We didn't talk about Hawaii on the Mountain West side this year, um, but yeah, 2.5 was a win total. Now it's 3.5 this year, and so is in Hawaii. Hawaii went 3-10 last year, and Vandy went 5-7.
I mean, at the end of the day of this game, Hawaii hasn't did anything to fix the trenches. They lacked, on the offensive line, and even with them lacking on the offensive line, they lost the best players that they had. One of our guys, Michael Vanderpool, he went out as a first teamer in the Mountain West, but that guy's gone. A couple other guys are gone now, but they just got manhandled in some games where they didn't pair up in the trenches. And I don't think that they're fixed that in the trenches. I think Timmy Chan is more concerned with installing the run and shoot right now. So
Yeah,
they're gonna score. They're gonna they're
yeah,
gonna they're gonna try their hardest to score. But Vanderbilt, they just, even from looking at the film from last year, um, they just way bigger athletes. I mean, it's just a SEC Mountain West type difference between them, and you can't take nothing from Vanderbilt. And it's hard to give Hawaii a case. They're not in Hawaii; they're on the mainland. First game of the season, playing the SEC team. I mean, I don't see them as. I don't think they did like the greatest job in recruitment and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if I was a player on Hawaii right now, I'd be kind of like, what's my next move for real? Because we don't know. They're going through coaches back to back. We don't know what's going to go with Timmy Chan. And I don't think that the remedy to all of these teams is bringing in somebody who played there before, alumni or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go out and shop a quality coach that fits what you have or can fix what you have. So I think that Hawaii's just doing a horrible job at that, and they bound to be in last place in the Mountain West. So what makes me think for any chance that Vanderbilt couldn't put it back on them when they did 63-10 last year? I mean, some of the best Vandy's games are going to be out of conference. They're going to look like something they ain't until they become in the conference games.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, I want to say call it the hype train for Vandy, but they think they're definitely going to take a step forward. I think Lee, the head coach, I think he surprised. I think I want to say they overachieved, but I think they were kind of, I wouldn't say ahead of schedule, but they did put together a nice season. There's a possibility they can go bowling this year, possibly if they win 6 games. Like I said, their win total went from 2.5 to 3.5, and like you said, most of their success is going to come early on in the season. Hawaii, they had a real rough start last season, and even though they lost a ton of games, 3-10, they did cover like I think 6 out of like at last 8 games, and then 6-2 is a double-digit dog. I mean, here we are again. Like we don't like to usually take Hawaii on the mainland spots, and I think you're on the Vandy side, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah,
What you play
yes.
for this game?
17 and a half.
You laying the 17.5, right?
Yeah, land the 17. I'm also going to use it. I'm also going to use it in the teaser as well for the
Okay.
weekend.
Yeah. I kind of went a different direction on this spot here because, like you said, I think Hawaii is going to get they're a much improved squad as far as the season went on. I'm talking ATS guys. We're talking spreads on this one. I think it's going to come through the air for them. I don't think they're going to put a whole lot together on the ground against Vanderbilt, so that's going to kind of force a few things. So, and I know Vandy's going to lead a more balanced attack, which that might play into the total a little bit. See, first I was kind of thinking, I had this pegged as a dead over, but then the more I thought about it, I said, you know what? If Hawaii's not going to be able to run the ball, and they're going to have to force the pass, and then Vandy's going to use a little bit of clock game management type plays, but maybe score at a higher efficiency. That probably bodes well for the total. I think in the short term. So I think the points are going to come early. More points are going to come early from Hawaii early, if anything, and then Vandy's going to maybe pour it on late like they did last year. But I think Hawaii would stay within the game early on to keep it a little closer and put some points on the board. So I like the first half total, which has kind of gotten away. So I'm not going to recommend it for a play for everybody. But for me, I bet at 27.5 early. It's sitting at 29.5 now. So I bet the first half over 27.5. You're not going to get that now. It's gone. So now you got, now you need 4 touchdowns versus 3, and 3 with the field goals involved in 4 touchdowns to cover. Now 4 touchdowns you lose, if you don't get the 5th score. So that's dangerous territory, being with the numbers 56.5, now sitting at 29.5, or 56, and now sitting at 29.5 for the first half. And I kind of used in a parlay, I used the plus 17.5 in a parlay, but my money's on the first half here over the total.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I'm on Vanderbilt only. I'm gonna stay away from the total right there. But let's keep it moving. Next team up, San Jose State plus 31.5 versus USC The over and under is 66 and a half. It's not a lot we can really go back and forth for, especially about USC. I mean, like
Hmm.
USC is loaded on offense like crazy, and all they need to do is tighten up the defense and get it right. And I'm sure that they know, just if the whole public knows that USC defense is not up to par, then they know as well. And I'm sure they're trying to do something to fix it. They're playing the San Jose State team with Brett Brenner, and I don't know where Brett Brenner is in his career right here. He is getting 9 back on offense. He gets Cordero. Cordero was on Hawaii at one point in time. You
Yeah.
know, he's jumped around. They figured like this was more of a comfortable home, but he hasn't had the greatest blocking there. He had to get his money on his feet sometimes. So he's gonna be playing USC. It's gonna be a level up for him. The players that are in the Mountain West, a lot of them are in the Mountain West because they couldn't make that. They were probably looked at by USC because they in the area and all that stuff, but they just wasn't up to par right there. So I think this is just a down game. San Jose State is gonna have a good season, especially in conference play, but this ain't the spot for them, especially in week one, going into USC nighttime. Um, it's just too much. And the regiment for Lincoln Riley is he needs to win and win big. He needs to be the next Pete Carroll. So they're gonna be looking to score, 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 score. I think someone said the team total on USC is 48 and a half. So they
Big
already
number.
they already expect them to score like that, and
Yeah.
this makes me think as well. Like with all that being said, USC last year was a team that the regiment was still for them to blow people out like that, but they gave up a lot of backdoor covers to a lot of schools last year and didn't really get the job done. Here, first week they jump out and put a 31. Well, sometimes in college football, ladies and gentlemen, they put the line as high as they can put it because they can't put it no higher. You know what I'm saying? So they probably know something that we don't. Maybe the defense is better, and maybe they're gonna shut San Jose State out, especially if they think that SC is gonna score 48 points and the total 66 and a half. So it's a lot to say. I like SC minus the 31. Well, it was at 30. 31 and a half is crazy. That's almost a point and a half from where it was. But still, you got to take it because you're just betting on a blowout game. But I think the sweet spot in this one all is going with the under in this one
You like
because
the other, huh?
yeah, because
So you're not crazy about the team total on USC. Then I take it if you did mention the 48 and a half, and you think their defense might be a little better to hold San Jose down a little bit.
yeah, I think their defense is going to be. I think that USC is going to look superior the first 6 games till they see Notre
You don't
Dame.
think Cordero is going to give him a fit? Maybe as
I think they
experienced as he is,
the one
and they
the
beat,
the
yeah.
one time he get hit by one of those defensive ends for USC, the one time those linebackers get a hold, his feet's not faster than those linebackers at SC. They might be faster than those linebackers at Boise. They might be faster than those linebackers at UNLV, but Cadero's feet not faster than those linebackers at USC. And those
But
guys are sized.
I heard USC's defense. They were able to bring pressure, but they weren't able to, kind of make the plays, so to speak, to kind of finish the deal. Like they were able to bring the pass rush and stuff like that, but the end result was they were still able to convert plays on them. And like you were saying, just maybe they bring it together this year. Normally, and you and I talked about this when these big name teams are playing out of conference early in the season. That's when they seem to kind of get the W's, whether they equate to ATS covers. And a lot of them do, believe it or not, with these bigger numbers early on. It's usually like later, after like weeks 4 or 5, when they start getting into the conference plays, those numbers are getting skewed early on because of the fact that they're playing the lighter teams. I know this team hasn't beat USC in the last 5 tries, so I doubt they beat them today or tomorrow. But my question was, how sharp is USC going to be out of the gates, which I think they will be offensively. What is San Jose going to present on the defensive side? So, and with that big number, like you said, 48 and a half, and then you're looking at 66. So what are you going to get? 17 points out of this team here, just to kind of put things in perspective. So I kind of ran to the window both ways with USC here. Um, I laid the 31 in a parlay with that first half Vandy, like I was telling you. I mean
Mhm.
Hawaii, excuse me, the first half Hawaii, the over the 27 and a half, and I did get to the window with a team total on. I bet the team total 48 and a half. I think USC is going to put it on them pretty early and often here. So I think they're making a move. They're going to be a Big 12 team, correct? Are they moving out of the Pac-12 to the Big 12
Big 10, Big 10.
or the Big 10? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Big 10.
So basically, they're for them to play in the Big 10. We talk about big defensive numbers. So I think this is like I'm not going to say a preparation game to kind of they're going to use this season to make whatever adjustments they can to get ready for the Big 10. Because once they get there, they're going to be playing some pretty stout defenses. And if they don't play as much offense as they want to play, if they don't make those defensive adjustments in the Big 10, they're not going to survive at all. Even though we know they're kind of gearing up, like with Michigan and Ohio State, have they made their adjustments on the offensive side. This team's ready offensively. They're going to have to do it on the defense. So I think they're going to come out with the offenses without question, and we'll see what kind of defense they'll play against these lower level teams, and then when they start playing up in conference play against the Oregons and the Utahs and stuff like that, we'll see what brings it. But for today, I think they get the 48 and a half, and I put the margin the 31 in the parlay. So with the over in the Vandy 27 and a half. So that's my play with the USC. Team total over single minus 31 in the parlay.
Yeah, I'm taking a minus the 31 straight up. Straight up on that one. And then I'm using the under 66 and a
Under.
half in my teaser that I was
There
talking
you
about
go.
earlier.
So
We're
you
gonna throw
teased it
that.
up 6 points or 10?
Yeah, I'm gonna tease it up 6. I'm gonna
6.
tease it
Yeah.
up 6, and I'm
Yeah.
also. I think
I
it's
mean, I
gonna
can
be
see
like
that.
54 to 10 or something like that.
Well, hey, if you got to be cheering both ways though, because now you got to hope they get to the total, but then you figure they're not going to win by or they're not going to run the score up. Basically, they'll hold them down to maybe like 10, 14 points the other way, and then it stays under like 50 something points.
Yeah, Cordell's gonna have a tough day. Promise you that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
even though
I can
SC
see that. I
defense
can
is
see
not the
that.
best, I think in the long run, and this is just a run-on sentence about this USC team. I think in the long run, in the second year, we're gonna find some loopholes on the offense late in the season, and we're gonna find some improvement on the defense because Williams last year, a lot of that stuff that he did, he's not gonna get away with this year. The all the running side to side, ditching this tackle, and all the charismatic last second plays and first downs and stuff. That stuff slows down the second year. We're gonna see how he settles down. Like when he first came to this team with Lincoln Riley being the coach, he was all ears for doing a great job. But now he's in Cali, he's everywhere. He's this
Yeah,
superstar. He probably has X amount of dollars in the bank with the NIL stuff now. And let's see if this young kid doesn't take that to his head and play a level down this year. I'm pretty sure he's going to the NFL. He has a chance to win the Heisman, all of that, but he won't get away with what he got away with in year one. Is my point.
yeah. This is going to come down to one score as far as the total and USC covering that number.
Yeah, it'll
I,
still be a nail biter.
Yeah, it's probably they're going to be in. They're either going to be like I'm going to say like 40. It'll be like right at 50 or right under 44, 45, somewhere in that range. So it's going to be close. It ain't going to come down to a field goal. It's going to be a one. It's going to be a touchdown difference in the total
Yeah.
and USC getting over their team total. So, and San Jose, like I said, they'll probably score probably around 15 to 17 points. So we'll see.
We
Good luck
shall
to us,
see.
man.
Good luck to us. Let's go to the next one. This is about your neck of the woods, Florida International versus Louisiana Tech. They're a 12-point favorite in this one. The over-under is 57 and a half. I have not capped this game, not one bit. this year, there's a few conferences that we looked at early. There's a few looks that I looked at early, and that's just where I'm gonna stop. And then in a few weeks, I'll start looking at numbers and looking to see where teams are swaying for the season. But right now, I'm not jumping into fires that ain't going to
Yeah.
help me out in the long run. So I'm trying to stay fluent in the SEC, stay fluent in the Big 10, stay fluent in the Big 12, also the Mountain West. I'll have some looks on the Pac-12, and I'll eventually have some more looks on the ACC. But that's about it for me for now. Even though I love me some Sun Belt, the American
Yeah.
Conference and all that stuff is a little different with some teams leaving. But that's just where I'm at. Once we get down to that Wednesday night games and Thursday, the MAC games and all that
This
stuff,
is where
then
they live, these teams.
I'll be back on it. But break it down for him, Big Ragu, because I'm totally off of this one.
Yeah, I didn't play this game, but I figure, you know what? It's a I think this is a conference game too, if I'm not mistaken. So this is like, I think the first time in a minute that both of these teams have played opening games in conference. So uh, there's a guy that plays for Louisiana. Let me see. I'm trying to think here. Let's see. Yeah, I think, isn't it? Yeah, Hank Bachmeier is the quarterback for Louisiana Tech this year. So he's an old familiar guy that you should know about, right? He used to
Oh
play for
yeah,
Boise
Bachmeyer
State.
from Boise.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
old Boise State quarterback.
Oh
So,
man, fade that guy. What a bum.
yeah. Sonny Cumbies, I think they bring him in to kind of open up the offense. They've had some coaches down in Louisiana Tech that we know over the years. Um, our guy was Skip Holtz was down there a little bit,
Skip
right?
Holtz. Yeah.
He was down there and he's gone. And then wasn't Terry Batten coaching that program too for a little bit too?
I think for 2 years or something like that.
Yeah. So I
Or a
mean,
year.
they've tried to establish that program down there as like the Louisiana. I call them Louisiana Light, but it's in the conference. CUSA play. They're fun games to watch. You get a lot of 3-star talent down there that's going to try to make a name. Now, with the portal, who knows how they try to build the programs now, but it's going to be interesting going forward. But the thing about FIU, they were really bad. I mean, they were like you talk about 131 FBS teams, 130 teams. They were like 127, 128 on all the categories for a while. So they're trying to put their programs together. So you got two struggling programs. They're going to try a lot of different things here. Offensively, defensively they've been a hot mess. But that's why you see like Bachmeier coming in. I would lean this game here. I'd just look towards the total possibly. I mean, we don't know what to expect defensively. They've been a horror show both sides, and offensively, they've had their struggles. But I think both teams are looking to make improvements on the defense. Offensively, I think they're okay. I think they'll get their points here. So I know the number is sitting at 57.5, and La Tech is a pretty good sized favorite here. So I expect points out of both of these teams. My cap came out to right around 55, 56 points. So I think the original number was 58.5. It's ticked down a little bit. And I think they're going to try to figure things out with the transfers. Defensively, they're trying to figure things out. So I don't think we're going to see a run and shoot type offensive game. We'll probably see more of a balanced attack, maybe like 150 yards on the ground, and maybe FIU puts maybe a 200 ground. So if they get 350 yards of offense out of both teams, I think that, and one team gets 400, 700 yards, that should equate to probably, like I say, in my book, right around 55, 54 points. And I'd probably lean towards the under, even though it has a feel of an offense. Two defensive teams that struggle immensely. I think both offenses kind of slow the game out to figure things out with the new offenses, and I lean under here in this spot.
Yeah, and if I had to take a shot at it just off of what I know about Bachmeier, I'd probably take the 12 points and I'd take the under because that guy, I think he's probably a super senior now. He left when the offensive coordinator got fired. he wasn't doing the greatest job anyway. But a guy that leaves his team like that after being the sole quarterback for a long time, and and he was messing up even before all of that. But it just looked like, as my coach used to say back in the day, son, you didn't went from sugar to shit, and that's what I think. Brockmeyer then went from sugar to shit, and now he's crept down here in Louisiana. He's gonna be more of a distraction than help to the what you call it. I would have to look it up and see if that offensive coordinator is down there too, from Boise that got fired over there. And that guy was a shyster too, because his deal has something to do with the athletic director, and kind of got hooked up or something like that. But that's just a whole bunch of extra stuff we don't need in college football. Like you said, Louisiana Tech could always show some potential at the level of the team
Yeah.
they are, but they got to get it right going forward. And Brockmeyer, he ain't it, but we'll see what happens. He could prove me wrong. He's just a young kid, and I'm an old man.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of points too. You need 2 touchdowns to get there. So like I said, if the FIU team of last year shows up against a halfway decent La Tech team that they've been in the past, and it could be a long day for FIU, but I think not. I think I would stay within the points possibly, and like I said, I lean under here. So, but then again, it can get away from it because they were really bad last year. But I think both teams defensively had their struggles. So when you have 2 teams that you expect an over like that, with the defensive struggles, you go under, and I think the markets move that way too. So I definitely lean under here, but it's not probably something I would play.
Yeah. Well, that's about it, man. We got a few games jumping on Thursday, so you probably just have to follow us on Twitter. If we're gonna put some plays on out, we'll put it out. But you might catch us popped around the internet somewhere, throwing some picks out on some of these games. But Big Ragu, it's always a pleasure to be back in business, doing
Absolutely,
what we
man.
love to do, and giving the people what they want. So this is just buckling up the seatbelt to a long, fun ride.
Yes, sir. We got a long season ahead. So, do we have a game plan for? We want to announce a time for next week, or are we just going to put that on social media for next Saturday?
I was thinking 7:30 my time, so it'll be 10:30 your time next Saturday.
10:30. Yeah,
We're gonna be doing something more as just like we did today, more or less our looks plus a couple other games.
there you
Not
go.
trying to attack a whole card or nothing like
Right.
that. So we looking to stay within the 30 minutes and under an hour range. So we don't want to be piercing nobody's ears for too long, but we definitely want to get our looks and our plays out there.
Yeah.
Me, I go on and on and on about all kinds of stuff sometimes. So
Oh,
we
we
get
could
a
talk
little
about a game for an hour if we let us. You know what I mean? But we
somebody in
want
the
to be
chat.
realistic about it.
Somebody in the chat said they can listen to Big Boss talk college football for 19 hours. And I probably could talk it for 19 hours. That's crazy. But especially with you, Big Ragu, we always sit around. We can
Oh
talk
yeah.
for some hours about some
We're
college
on
football.
camera, off camera. We're always talking college football, man. So it's always a good time. Just we want to share our plays, our thoughts. Hopefully somebody picks up a nugget, cashes a ticket, and they come back and see us next week. That's the game plan. We want to put money in people's pockets, and at the same time, we want to entertain them and have a good time. So that's what it's all about: cashing tickets, right?
There you go. See them at the window.
See you at the window, right? That's our moniker. See you guys at the
I
window.
see you at the window.
I'll see you at the window.
And I see you at the window. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for
All right.
listening in. It's Who Bangin' Sports, Boss in the Sauce Show, and we out.